Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm here for another crochet instructional video. And today I'm going to show you how you can make your own coasters. And this is my own pattern. And if you're new to crochet or wanting to learn how to crochet and to get started, I recommend you go back and watch at least the first couple of videos in my Crochet 101 series that I'll be linking to down below. In that series, I start off with all the basics in the first 3 or 4 videos, but especially the first 2, you're going to get what you really need to start with there. And then I also have other simple patterns that you can follow, including a pair of fingerless gloves. I've got a hat series out on making like character hats and a few other things. I think making a basket out of strips of cloth and much more. So today's about the coaster. So this is the one I just made. So what's happening is some of my table decor has changed. My tastes have changed over the years. And I had crochet placemats, table runner, and much more. And though I do still use some of those, I've sort of changed the way I do my decor as I've leaned more and more towards a rustic colors and decor. But I want to get back to changing out my table setting every few months to match the season. All these ones go with my fall set, which I'm still using. I have a checkerboard pattern placemats that I made that I love, and I'll put a picture of at least one of those here. And so these ones here go with that set, but I still use all these in various ways and things. One thing I like about these coasters, these ones are a little bit bigger, and I like using this for my ferments, be it I'm doing a jug of wine or a half gallon of vinegar. So when I've got those things sitting on my counter, I can set the jars on top of there and easily slide them around and not worry about scratching up my counter. One of the color schemes I'm adding this year is this totally new, is for my winter theme. Since we stopped celebrating Christmas a number of years ago, I haven't had a good setup that's just winter themed. My mother bought me this placemat, just the one, years ago. It's got little sparkles in it. So I've decided for my winter theme that I want to go with more the navy blue and off-white. And so that's why I did this. Now, usually when I make these, as you can see, I'll like to have a few different ones and I switch the colors up. So the next one I'm going to make, I'm probably going to make a total of 4 of these. The one I'm going to make today, I'm going to use this tweed off-white for the center because I think that will be easier to see. And then I'll put the navy blue on the outside. And what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to use a J hook, but you can go smaller. So you can do the classic way to make that ring by doing a chain 4. And this might be easier for some people, especially considering I'm starting this with a double crochet. And then you do a slip stitch in that first chain stitch, and now you've got your ring. So you can do it that way, and then you do your chain 3 for your first double crochet. That's actually easier than using the magic circle. I just really prefer the magic circle, and the easiest way, again, I'm not going to break this down in too much detail since I have a video just on this, is to use 2 fingers, wrap your yarn twice so it looks like that, so you have it wrapped flat, straight across, and then cross down and over to hold that with your thumb. Put your hook underneath this one, grab this yarn over here, pull up a loop, and then you're going to grab that yarn again, and then there's your chain stitch. That's your chain 1. Now I've got to a point now where I usually just use 1 finger instead of 2 because I've got this down enough. But here's the thing is you want to make sure you grab hold of that before you do anything else. So I'm going to make 2 more chains because this is going to represent my first double crochet. And then you're going to do 11 double crochets into that ring so that you have a total of 12 double crochets in your ring. And at any time, if you want to tighten that up before you even get to the end, I like to do that because it makes it easier to work. Just go ahead and pull that tail a little bit. And that might make it easier to finish working into that ring. Again, you don't have to use the magic circle for this. You can just use a chain 4 and then connect and then have your work into that ring like I showed initially. Okay, so there is a total of 12 double crochets, and that does count that starting chain. So I just pull that tail nice and tight, and that's how I can make a nice closed center here, which is harder to get when you're doing the chain 4, 5, or 6, and then connecting it and making that ring. But that's all going to be a matter of choice. Maybe you want that space there and you like the way that looks. And then what you'll do is you'll just slip stitch into the third chain there on that starting chain, on that starting double crochet. Now the next thing you're going to do is do another starting double crochet, which is a chain 3 plus 2 more. So you're going to actually chain 5. So what you have here is the starting double crochet plus a chain 2 space, and then you're going to work a double crochet chain 2 into every double crochet from the previous round. And obviously working all the way around. So what you're going to end up with is 12 chain 2 spaces and 12 double crochets. So not only is this an increase round, you're adding that little bit of lacy design and then a space that you're going to be working your next round into. And then my chain 2, and then I'm going to join at the top of that third chain is where I'm joining. Okay, so now I'm going to chain 1, and then in that same space, I'm going to go ahead and do a single crochet, and then 2 single crochets in the space, 1 single crochet in the double crochet, 2 single crochets in each space. And you're going to work that same pattern around. 1 single crochet in each double crochet, 2 single crochets in each chain 2 space. So you're not actually increasing on this round. You're going to end up with the same amount of stitches, which is actually a total of 36. If you count 2 chains and 1 double crochet 12 times, that's 36 stitches. So you'll end up, when you finish this round, 36 single crochets. It's important to keep track of those numbers when you're doing that, especially when you're learning how to work with adding increases like this. Okay, so I just counted my stitches just to be certain that I actually had 36 stitches around. Okay, so then I'm going to join into that first single crochet with a slip stitch. So the next round on this, so here's the single crochet round, here's the double crochet round with the spaces. You'll see here I've got spaces again, but what are these? These are called double crochet clusters. And the double crochet cluster can be done, made really poofy, but for a coaster you want to keep it kind of flat, so we stick with the standard double crochet cluster, which whenever you're starting it, you're going to start with only 2 chains, yarn over, insert back into the same stitch, pull up a loop, then yarn over, pull through only 2 of the loops. Then you're going to yarn over again, insert back into that same stitch again, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through only 2 loops again, and then you'll have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. Now you have your double crochet cluster. And then you're going to chain 2, and you're going to skip 1. So you're not going to do this into each stitch. You're going to do this into every other stitch from the previous round. So now the second one starts off different because I didn't have to do the chain. So I yarn over into the designated stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. I have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then you're going to do that one more time. Yarn over into the stitch, pull up a loop, and in this case you're going to end up with actually 4 loops on your hook, and that will be that way for the rest of the stitches like this you do. Yarn over, pull through all 4. Okay, so chain 2, let's do that again. Skip 1, so I'm going into this one, yarn over, through the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, through 2, and then one more time. You can look at that and see you want a total of 3 of those in there, because that's the standard cluster. Okay, so that same thing again. I have 4 loops on the hook, and I yarn over and pull through all 4. Oh, let's demonstrate that just one more time. Skip stitch into the designated stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 4. 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish the stitch pattern the rest of the way around. Okay, when you get to that last chain 2, you're going to join at the top of that first cluster. Okay, so there's that. And now you're going to do like you did back here. You're going to chain 1, single crochet at the top of that cluster, and then single crochet in every stitch around, which means 1 single crochet in each double crochet cluster, 2 single crochets in each space. So you're not actually increasing on this particular round. And don't worry, it may want to curve, seem like it's curling up, but it will lay flat, especially as you start to use it. The more you use it, the flatter it will lay. So you can see these other ones lay pretty flat. Okay, so I'm back to the starting single crochet here. So same thing again, I'm going to join with a slip stitch. Now here's where you can decide what you want to do. So for this, what I did is I did a reverse single crochet, and that does make a nice finished edge, as you can see there and in here. These are pretty old. And how you do that is you just start working backwards, inserting the hook into the top of the single crochet that you just did, yarn over, and pull through the 2 loops. It's just a single crochet working backwards, and when you do that, that's how you get that kind of twisted looking braided type edging on that. Okay, but in this case, I'm going to do the scallop. So when you finish this round, I forgot to say this earlier, you should have a total of 18 clusters. And then you have the 2 chain stitches. So that means when you single crochet into each one, what you have is 18 times 3. So what you have here is you have 18 of these, and then you have 18 times 2 of these, which is 36, which brings you to a total of 54 stitches around. For this last round, let me pull this loop out because I got to join my next color here. And I do that by starting off like I'm going to crochet with this, but then I grab this color and pull that up. And you can do that with your reverse single crochet too if you want a contrasting color on that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do chain 1 right now just to keep that from coming undone on me. So for this particular part of the pattern, it is a little trickier because the 54 stitches doesn't fit perfectly into this design, but you probably would have to look really hard to notice. And I liked the way this laid out so much that when I decided to go with this border to do a scallop, I didn't want to rewrite the whole pattern using different numbers. So I'll show you what I mean when we get to the end. And so I'm going to do a single crochet or a chain stitch and single crochet into that same space. Okay, so I'm starting with that. I'm going to skip a stitch. Then I'm going to do a 5 double crochet shell into the next stitch. So chain 1, or you have a single crochet here, skip, and then the shell stitch here. So there's 1 double crochet, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, then you're going to skip this single crochet and then do a single crochet into the next single crochet, skip, and then your shell stitch into this. So your 5 double crochets in that single stitch to make the shell, skip, single crochet in the next, skip, shell in the next, and just keep working that all the way around until you get to the last few stitches, and then I'll show you what to do next. So I'm going to speed the rest of this up to get to that point. All right, so I'm in the last couple stitches here, and you'll see I don't actually have enough stitches to have that same amount of number. So you have an option where you can go ahead and join here. So this is actually 13 shells right now, and join into that first. I'm going to pull this yarn a little tighter here. That first single crochet, so you'd have an extra chain or single crochet here. So that space is going to be a little bit bigger. Or you can do like I did on this one over here, and then go ahead and just, you're not going to have a space between this single crochet and this last shell if you decide to put in 14 shells. Typically I'll go for the higher number, but you just do whatever works best for you. But you can see that still lays pretty flat, just like this one. See, I got 14 shells worked around there. Okay, and I cut my yarns here and pull that out. Usually I add an extra slips or single or chain stitch when I do that, so that helps lock it in. So you can see here as I'm working in my ends, and I've explained this in a few videos, I actually will do with each end, I will actually crochet it in like that. And I always use a hook size that's a couple sizes smaller than the one I crocheted with to make it easier. You can do the, putting the yarn on a needle and doing it that way. I find this way works a lot better for me. It's a lot faster. I don't have to thread a needle. And after I've done maybe tied a knot like I did here, I tied these two pieces together and then crocheted the end in a couple times, then I'll just pull it behind a cluster of stitches like that. And I'll take this one and go this way, and then just cut it off. And I usually don't have any problem. And if the end tries to come out, it's not going to come unraveled because of the way I have it crocheted and tied into a knot. But I can simply grab a hook and tuck it back in the looser end. And there we go. There's my 2 newest coasters. I'll probably make a couple more like this. Well, I hope you enjoyed my instructional crochet video, and don't forget, if you'd like to learn more patterns, or just simply learn how to crochet in the first place, please check out my full playlist I'll be putting in the description box down below. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.